Hello and welcome to another edition of the Son of Kaiju Review podcast. I'm Protomet.
I'm here, I'm Tank.
He's very delayed, and today we will be talking about a movie.
Like usual.
Wait, we do movies all the time? I thought we just did, novels or something.
Sometimes.
Yes, we are covering a movie. Today we are covering The Amazing Colossal Man, which is apparently also known as The Colossal Man. I think adding the word amazing makes it better.
Yep.
And apparently it's an adaptation of a short story called The Nth Man.
The Nth Man?
But it's like a loose adaptation. They don't even credit it as being an adaptation. But yeah.
Angerous.
Yes, there is an Angerous there. But that doesn't have anything to do with this movie.
No. Pumpkin spice ramen.
That doesn't have anything to do with this movie either. Do you remember what movie we're talking about?
The Amazing Colossal Toy.
Man. It was The Amazing Colossal Man.
Toy Man?
Look, I'm the one who's tired. I don't know why you're so off script. I mean...
I'm being silly.
Yeah. So how should we begin?
So, the movie pretty much starts off where they're in a bunch of army men are in like a trench waiting for a bomb to go off.
In the Nevada desert.
Yes.
There's a plutonium bomb.
Plutonium.
And the initial detonation just doesn't happen.
Nope.
So the men have to hug against the trench.
Yep.
While the technicians try figuring out what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Then an airplane crashes into where the bomb's going to blow.
So one of the soldiers, a lieutenant by the name of Glenn Manning, or Lieutenant Colonel actually, Glenn Manning.
Colonel Manning?
Lieutenant Colonel.
Lieutenant Colonel.
Glenn Manning. He goes to try and rescue the plane, which, for all intents and purposes, disappears from the movie from this point onward, to be honest.
Yes.
But ultimately, it's just there to get Glenn caught up in the explosion of the plutonium bomb, which...
Very, very, like, Incredible Hulk vibes.
Which came out after this, so... I think the movie even mentions that they couldn't even find the plane and whoever he was trying to save. So literally the plane just stops existing in this story at this point.
Yeah.
And it's never brought up again.
I could understand when the bomb went off, it probably blew up, but
but Glenn was
running there, and then he just stops and covers his face because the bomb is going off now.
Yeah, it just detonates.
Yep. And he gets severely burnt, like his entire body is...
Third-degree burnt.
Third degree. Like, even higher, possibly. Like, they can't really save the skin.
Yeah, it's burned off. It's represented as, like, scarring in the movie, because they can't... was the 50s. They can't show that kind of visceral stuff. They probably didn't even have the effects.
No, not back then.
To do that. But he is rushed to a hospital.
And, okay, what is that? Was that seaweed or something other?
I'm sure there's some medical explanation, but it does kind of look like they just draped seaweed between his dressing, between the bandages.
Yeah. But I know
Weird.
there is like they can use fish scale for some medical use for like protection, so the skin can slightly heal if it's just like a mild third degree or some crap.
I'm pretty sure once you get to third degree, it's no longer mild.
Well, let's say then, how about 2 degree there?
I'm no expert though, so you could be very much right.
I know they can use fish scale for. It's for some healing type deal. I don't know.
But yeah,
I'm not no doctor. I don't even play one on TV.
But so at this point, we're introduced to two doctors. Dr. Paul Lindstrom, who is played by the actor who played the adulterous husband in Attack of the 50-Foot Woman.
Wow. He's changed a lot.
And then another character by the name of Eric Coulter, a military scientist. And they are desperately trying to save his life, knowing full well that he will, if he does survive, he's going to be horribly scarred for the rest of his life.
Yeah, horribly
call
scarred.
it living.
Yep. Then
And
his wife, fiance,
Carol Forrest,
like walks into like the hospital where they're working on, and he's a
news reporter.
The news reporter who just keeps asking questions.
Yeah,
and I don't think we see him again in the movie.
No, he's really just there for Carol to provide exposition to.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we'd be like, well, who is this lady?
Mm-hmm. Were you his wife? Well, fiance.
But things are not looking good for Glenn until a few hours later when, miraculously, he's got his skin back.
Yep.
No scarring whatsoever.
None.
Which baffles the doctors.
And then, like, Carol comes in and it's like, his skin, it's not burnt anymore.
This leads the doctors to do a bit of investigating with the military to try and figure out if there was something that caused this whole reaction. Because if they could figure out how this happened, they could use it to potentially save lives.
Like, save burnt victims.
Like, this is quite miraculous.
Yes.
But it does have a side effect,
oh, yeah.
as we soon learn that Glenn is
growing. Growing. Not like normal growing, but
like massive.
Massive growing.
Like the kind of growing you would expect from a movie called The Amazing Colossal Man.
Yes. And he keeps growing in his sleep because he's still technically like...
He's comatose.
Yes.
From the blast, so he still hasn't fully recovered, so...
When he does, like, wake up...
But before that, he actually has some flashbacks to his life leading up to this moment. Mm-hmm. Him joining the military, being involved in the Korean War, coming back from like that conflict to his fiancée.
They having a picnic.
And, well, the events leading up to the blast.
Yep. And the blast is one that is, I believe, is the one that wakes him up.
Yeah, that's the part that once he dreams of that, that's when he wakes up to the horrifying realization that everything around him is tiny.
He picks up. It's some funny scenes because I love these little props they have. Yeah. He's like, he grabs the little chair that they have in the room. He just looks at it and is like, what the, like, okay.
Like, he's perplexed. He's like, what, did they replace everything in here with miniatures? Like, why? What the hell? It slowly dawns on him that it's not that everything's miniature.
That he is
technically is.
Yep. But he is gigantic. Well, not even. He's
grown larger since the first time we learned that he's been growing larger.
Yes.
So
he's gotten much larger compared to his, I don't know, 6 foot height.
So after that, he gets moved to some other facility, which doesn't get conveyed to his fiancée, who is left completely in the dark when her fiancé just disappears from the hospital and no one is telling her why.
Oh, we don't have a person here like that. We don't have a. What about Dr. Oh, he went back to some place.
Yeah, she does a bit of detective work and actually manages to find where she suspects that Glenn has been taken to.
Mm-hmm. She finds where he is.
She certainly Metal Gear Solids her way there.
Oh yeah.
doesn't choke out any guards, but that's like the one thing she doesn't do. Everything
she
else
could flirt her way in there. She's attractive enough, and the guards seem kind of incompetent.
But she does find that Glenn is absolutely massive and still growing.
Yes, and the doctors and scientists pretty much explain to her that you should just leave. You know,
they do a good job of actually explaining what is going on. Basically, whatever happened out there has stimulated Glenn's cellular reproduction to the point where he's growing more cells at a rate faster than the dead cells can be replaced. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he's just growing bigger and bigger and bigger, and everything is growing out of control.
Yeah. Besides his...
Well,
that's later.
Yeah. But they allow Carol to stay because she's able to, as his fiancée, she's there to talk to him.
Yeah, just to see if,
to try and keep him calm and focused. And not even that is working as
I believe it works just a little bit, but he's very, very doubtful.
He's doubtful, and you could definitely tell that his mental state is deteriorating as the film goes on.
Yeah, definitely in this movie is pretty much, not just a giant man going around doing things. It's about mental health. It's
kind of to be expected that he might be going a bit mad with him growing into a giant. I mean, that doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't.
All the time. But I love how the film handles it and accurately portrays, his descent into a personal madness.
Oh, yeah.
As everything shrinks around him. Mm-hmm. But we do get to see some inklings that something is wrong when he begins to have chest pains and coughing fits.
Yes. Then they allow him to... Oh, the scientists actually they're doing tests on bunnies.
Yes.
Bunnies and camels and...
Elephants. Apparently.
Yep. Large creatures besides bunnies. Then they ask where Glenn is. Oh, they're out, and one of the scientists says he should be contained.
I can kind of understand. I mean, this is a giant man. He doesn't want to freak people out.
Yeah, exactly. But
he's still a person.
Exactly.
Still a human. And this is...
Yeah. He doesn't mean it. He just wants them to be possibly contained so before they can find something.
I mean, they're still trying to find a way to counteract the problem of him growing to a giant.
And they do, kind of. Find.
But
he will stay at the height he is at, I guess.
That's what they initially suspect. Right? The immediate concern is to stop him from growing because they quickly learn that while most of him is rapidly growing at a steady rate, his heart is not.
Yeah, it is.
His heart is relatively small for his size.
So when he is having these coughing fits, he's having his blood is his heart's trying to push the blood through, and that's a lot of blood now.
And add on to that the stress that, is inducing more blood flow. It's putting a strain on his heart, on his body.
So he's literally, they're concerned that he's going to have a heart attack.
Yeah. I can't blame him.
Yeah, exactly. He's just...
But it does get to a point where Glenn is even starting to push Carol away because he's so frustrated and stressed out with the whole situation. And Carol, she sticks by her man as best she can, but it's hard when he's pushing so hard against her.
They're on their little picnic. He tells her to just leave, and he just pretty much runs off back to his tent. And
Yeah, he got moved to a tent at some point.
Yeah, he had to move to a tent because apparently there's no building big enough for him now.
Yeah.
And then a soldier
brings him a
whole chicken.
It's either a chicken and a turkey. It's definitely a large cooked bird.
Yep.
For sure.
It's when you see him starting to eat it, it's just like
it's tiny for him.
Yeah. Yeah. But he just tears a piece off and just starts eating. And the sergeant actually opens up. Oh, not sergeant. He's definitely not.
Some military man.
Yeah, he's telling him that he starts reading the paper. So what's in the paper today? He goes, "Oh, you, sir. Let's see it."
There's a story about how Glenn survived the plutonium blast.
Yeah, and he just starts.
For the record, the public at large has no idea that he's growing into a giant.
Yeah,
they just know that he miraculously survived a plutonium bomb explosion.
Yes,
but
yeah, he ends up just kind of laughing at it. And
they call that the army living.
Yes, the army man is just terrified.
And justifiably so, but...
Then Glenn starts having a coughing fit, so from a cup he used to have to a
pail to a barrel.
It's a barrel of water now.
At this point, yeah.
Just gulp, gulp, gulp. So you start to feel bad for him in a little bit because he's at certain points, he finally just says F it and just kind of leaves.
Yeah, that's at about 50 feet.
Yeah.
He escapes off screen.
Yeah.
They just kind of casually mention that he escaped.
It's we misplaced him.
They don't know where he was.
Yeah.
Where he went. There's a whole desert and they still can't find him.
Yes. They can't find a 50-foot giant man.
But, what was his name? That's the other scientist. Dr. Coulter does manage to figure out a way to both stop the growth process and also reverse it.
Yeah, so he would go back to his normal size.
They realize that in order to do that, they have to give Glenn an injection into the bone marrow, which requires them to have a really big hypodermic needle.
So, if you watch this movie and you have a phobia of needles, trigger warning. This thing is massive.
Not that you actually see any actual needle work done.
No.
It's just literally at one point one character is holding a regular hypodermic needle and then later they get a huge one.
Yep.
It's comically large.
Oh yeah, it's it's massively large, but it's hilarious.
I get nervous around needles and I'm fine.
But I'm just saying,
right.
People
I get it.
who have phobias of that because pain.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it. But this is so comically huge.
Oh yeah. They do stick him with it, but it's just in the leg.
Yeah, even that's just
It's huh.
But yes, eventually Glenn does show back up.
Mm-hmm. He's in Las Vegas.
There is one scene where a couple passing motorists spot him, and then one guy is
he's on the booze.
He's on the booze, and he swears off the booze after that.
Yeah, he's
and the news just kind of reports that. It's now, in addition to aliens, we've got giants. What do they think of next? It's the news is acting as though this is some fabricated story when we know full well that no, it's a very serious situation. It's a very situation.
A very situation. Oh God. So at this point, Glenn is pretty much he's out of his mind.
Yeah, he has stopped saying words at this point.
He's just kind of got a scowl and
he's upset. He's just almost marveling at how tiny everything is by comparison. Mm-hmm. And this is old Las Vegas. It's not current Las Vegas.
No, it's not there's there's like big billboard things, but no lights around it or anything.
Well, this is like set during the day, so it's not like you can see anything. But granted, I don't think the effects probably would have worked at night, but
no. Lots of black and white movies.
Yeah, the effects work for depicting him as a giant does occasionally show its age by some outline, some transparency in some scenes.
Yeah. But it wasn't as bad as the giant alien from the 50-Foot Woman, where you could just see right through it.
Yeah. Like it's handled better here, despite this movie being released first.
Yeah.
It's the two.
So Glenn's just like, okay, Glenn accidentally scares some people because it's the first time them seeing a 50-foot.
So
someone shoots at him.
Yeah.
He's he swipes his arm.
The military has, once I realized that Glenn has gotten out, one of the heads of the military basically says, okay, we're going to go search for him, but if he shows any aggression, we will fire at him in self-defense, but we won't shoot him unless he provokes, and somebody ends up shooting him without him provoking.
Yeah.
So.
And it wasn't even the military person, it was some random citizen of Las Vegas.
Eventually, the doctors and Carol manage to track him down, and they get him to calm down enough for the doctors to stick him with a needle and inject him. But this doesn't quite go as intended, as Glenn ends up picking up the huge needle and realizing what it is, tossing it right back down and killing one of the scientists.
Yeah, it was just he was supposed to be impaled, but it didn't look like he was impaled.
I mean...
Well, it was a different time. They could probably show an impalement.
The implication is still very heavily
Glenn has killed.
present.
Glenn has killed.
Yeah.
They
chase him to a dam, and there's a shootout.
He also has. They had to talk him down because he has his. What's his fiancée name?
Carol. He grabs onto Carol at one point.
Grabs onto Carol, and they talk him down, put her down, and all of a sudden, they all shoot at him. He falls into the dam, and
then the movie ends.
Okay, by the way, I just gotta say that was the goofiest little, just like
it's just a still image. Doesn't even really look like he's falling. It's just a still image of him moving down.
Just like, and
to his apparent death.
Yes, and he supposedly dies.
But that's where the movie ends.
Yep.
The movie just ends.
Yep, the end. I like this movie.
This was a good movie, yeah. Yes. I know that MST 3000 did riff on it and its sequel. So yeah, Glenn does survive.
Yeah. It's a good little movie.
It has some flaws, but in general, I think it's a pretty entertaining movie.
Yes.
A good Atom Age monster film.
Oh yeah, definitely. Would you consider this a sci-fi?
Yes. I mean, why would that even be a question? I mean, of course it's sci-fi. It's not like humans grow into giants. Isn't that right, Big Jim?
Big Jim.
It was funnier here because I looked up at an imaginary giant. It's lost on the audio format.
Yep. Then, yeah, it's a good fun movie. Like you said, there are some flaws, but it was just from the time, you know.
And I'm not going to lie, the name Glenn Manning has stuck with me in my mind. Mm-hmm. I mean, there have been plenty of kaiju names that I've just flat out forgotten over all this time. But the name Glenn Manning has stuck with me because of how good this film was, in my opinion.
And it's definitely a classic.
Oh, definitely.
It's not as good as, like, you know, the other, like... Well, okay, I have to say, like, we've seen some shit.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen some pretty garbage films.
Yep.
And this one's not one of them.
No, this is on the top tier. It is quite good. We recommend you guys to give this a watch if you want.
Oh, yeah.
We're not going to force it down your throat if you don't want to.
Well, I will.
All right, you take the lawsuit then.
Yeah. And I'll win, because I'm a winner.
Just because you beat a video game doesn't make you a winner.
I beat that video game hard. What video game is he referring to? Find out next month.
You will never know. Well, yeah. Yeah. You'll find out. You'll find out. Oh, shit. Like, there are some movies out there that are, like we said, is just pure garbage. And then there's the ones that are gold.
Oh, yeah. I love this movie.
Oh, yeah. It's very good. Just the giant human movie franchise type deal.
Subgenre. That doesn't pop up very often outside of, like, fantasy films.
Yeah.
But this is one of the more solid sci-fi films of the genre.
This, The 50-Foot Woman.
Which has been remade to hell.
Oh my god. But apparently there's a 50-foot cheerleader.
50-foot centerfold.
There's a lot.
This movie, however, has really only ever had a sequel.
Yeah.
So
I want mine to remake to this. Hopefully they won't fuck it up, but
I don't think it would really work as well these days, comparatively speaking. I think it really was a product of its time that could really only have come from that time period.
Yeah.
So I don't think a remake is necessary.
No. Yeah, just a thought, but...
Yeah. I mean, unless they interpreted it some different way, but...
Yeah, but... Who knows?
Maybe that's just me, though.
Yeah. So then, this is the I swear I can speak the English.
Lies. You only speak Esperanto.
I'm not going to make anything. I don't want to offend anybody.
I don't think anybody would be offended at you trying to speak Esperanto. It's basically, it was a dead language before it was even a language.
All right. Blah, 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 da, 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 blah, blah, blah.
I am deeply offended by that.
That's funny. Yeah, so this has been Son of Kaiju Review.
I'm Protomit.
I'm Tank.
See you next time.
Yep, bye-bye.